All right, it looks like it's time for us to go save the people of Burkina Faso. This guy got on U.S. Senate hearing and said that the president of Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traore, has become a threat to his own people. You already know what that means, what that sounds like. That means it's time for us to go liberate the people of Burkina Faso. And of course, they're going to use a black man. The blackface is always a house nigga. Every time they're going to use, every time they want to use violence on black people, they use a black man from the West to come bring it on Africans. When they want to use sweet talk, it's always a black woman. You see, this guy's used violence for Burkina Faso. When they wanted to do the, what was it called? What was it in Kenya? The bill that was going to, the bill they were trying to introduce where if you owe too much taxes, the IMF could take your land. It was black American congresswomen they used to send them to Kenya. Like, America has realized they have black people in power who they can use now to destroy Africa. But yes, this house nigger, Michael Langley, is now the guy who's going to be the face of America going into Burkina Faso. Look it up. He got on the Senate hearing and said, but Ibrahim Traore is a threat to his own people.
Our African partners understand that we're here to help.
By force.
Them reach their overall national goals of stability and security. But when we bring our assurance actions and our African campaign plan, there's a number of things by Russia and China that are pushing and shaping onto our African partners, especially across their society, that changes ways and a departure away from international norms. The PRC and Russia are also remaining exploitative where possible and coercive when necessary. They want that ground. They want power projection capabilities. So for the most part, the rest of the continent is also for mining concessions.
I could let him go on and on and on and on, but you get the point. I have one question. How much are you willing to bet that this man and his wife and his children believe that they're Native Americans? We ain't African, we was natives. How much are you willing to bet this man believes it? How much are you willing to bet that the whole point of this whole we ain't African is like, this is it? So that now you're going to get the nigger Indians. Now you're going to get black men from America strapped with weapons to go to Africa to kill the Africans for white people because they're not African. They're nigger Indians. How much are you willing to bet that this man, his wife, and his children all believe they are nigger Indians? By the way, does anyone know if he has kids? How many kids does he have? What school a man like that gotta have family. Like, what's up? Does anybody know them? I just want to ask his sons or his daughters. Like, how do you feel about your father being the face of you get my point. But how much are you willing to bet that this man does not identify as a descendant of Africans? His people were here. His people were here. His people were here. Fucking nigger Indians. Y'all are worse than the white people that enslaved you. I swear, y'all are worse than them. No, we was natives.
Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, Africans. I hope you're doing fine where you are, and if you ain't doing fine, please do fine where you are. In today's video, it's long since I sat on this chair, so it's a special video. We want to talk about the West and how the West has always disrespected Africans, African leaders, African continent, African culture, and even our natural resources. You see, what they like is what Africa gives them, but they don't want the blackness that comes with it, In Burkina Faso, we cannot say Burkina Faso without thinking about Ibrahim Traore. Yeah, Ibrahim Traore was just sent a warning by a black person. A black person was used by the West to send a warning to one of his own in Africa. This black man is called Langley, Mike Langley. Mike Langley is a general with a 4-star. That is a very, very powerful general in the hierarchy of the military hierarchy, You are awarded stars because with regards to how many wars, how many battles you've attended, and how many have been successful under your watch. So this man, Langley, is a very powerful man in the United States of America government. He's black, yes. He's a black man, and the West has decided, as it always does, to use a fellow black man to try and bring back down Africans and black people, you know. This is a trick that we've seen before, you know. So when a man is beaten by a snake, even if they see a lizard, they will be afraid, you know. He sent a threat to Ibrahim Traore, where he said that Ibrahim Traore is a military leader and he does not serve the people. According to Langley, Ibrahim Traore does not serve the people. What he does is that he is using the mineral resources, the gold resources that is found in Burkina Faso to support his junta regime. Yeah, but is that true? Is what Langley is saying is true? I don't think it's true, you know. Depending on whom you ask. If you ask the West, they'll say it's true. If you ask the normal Burkinabe living in Burkina Faso, leave those living in France who are protesting. I'm speaking of those living in Burkina Faso. They'll give you a totally different story. Ibrahim Traore is someone who has always fought for the rights of Africans. He's fought for the rights of his own very people in Burkina Faso. You know, he brings his people first, which has made him become the most popular Africans and the most beloved African leader in the continent. It's so hard to get into such position owing to the fact that African leaders are one of the most, if not the most, are one of the most corrupt leaders we have in the whole world, you know. So I want us to watch a series of videos that are showing black people and white people reacting to this statement that was given by this gentleman by the name Langley. Langley is a black person trying to betray a black person. I think he has some identity problem. Now, without further ado, let's dive in and listen to Langley, and also let's listen to our brothers and sisters right away.
I am very disappointed with General Langley. You as a black man, you knows the difficulties that black people are going through in the United States. You are now going to help the white criminal organizations like the United States government to go and murder a black leader who is standing up for black people in Africa. You goddamn know the history. You are going to help the white imperial powers, the white supremacists, to go and murder and alive more black babies in Africa against, like the way Barack Obama did in Libya. Millions of Libyans are living in poverty today. Slavery is going on in Libya thanks to Barack Obama. You do not learn anything from the history, but you are letting white supremacist organizations use you to topple another government in Africa. Let us watch this video and talk about it.
I can imagine a situation, though, in which the ruling elite of a country is receiving gratuities on the side that in order to the benefit of the strongman leader and not to the populace of the country. Does that sort of corruption and bribery go on with regard to the Belt and Road?
Absolutely, Chairman. You know, I see this, and I don't mind calling them out, but Captain Traore and Burkina Faso, you know, as they know that both, you know, whether it's their gold reserves, that is all those proceeds are just in exchange to protect the junta regime.
General Langley is accusing the government of Burkina Faso, the leader, especially Captain Ibrahim Traore, of enriching himself from the gold reserves in Burkina Faso and the mineral resources. Basically, he is saying that Captain Ibrahim Traore is not using the money or the resources of Burkina Faso to help the public, to help the poor people. But that is a lie. This man is a coward, and this man does not need to step his foot in Africa again, because he is a coward for the black people as a whole. Captain Ibrahim Traore does not take a presidential salary because he knows that the hardship that his people are going through in Burkina Faso and across Africa, he is still only receiving his military salary. Besides that, also, before he became to power in Burkina Faso, 80% of the country was controlled by the terrorists. When your military was there, terrorists were terrorizing, they were killing people left and right in Burkina Faso. You weren't able to do nothing. Now we have a military leader who controls 80 to 90% of the territories in Burkina Faso. People are happy with him, but the United States-wide supremacist governments are using you as a general in Africa. You are between the United States and Africa. Instead of you defending the African people, instead of you defending the African great leaders, they are using you to terminate the image of captain in Burkina Faso and other great African leaders. And afterward, they are going to sponsor a coup d'etat in those countries to go and unalive them. Now, more and more black babies are going to be suffering again, over and over again. Like the same way they used Barack Obama against Mohammed Gaddafi and the bombing of Somalia and so on. Captain Langley, I mean, why will you allow these people to use you? Why do black people in general, not only in the United States, but also on the continent in Africa, allow themselves to be used by the United States and Paris and other, imperial nations against their own people? Shame on this man. If anyone knows him or his family, please send them this video. Shame on this man. You as a black man, the segregation that black people went through in the United States, after the slavery, Jim Crow era, and so on and so forth, no justice for them. They are doing the same thing in Africa. They can go and bomb the hell out of our people, give weapons to the terrorists, so that they can divide and conquer. And you, under your watch as a black general, you are allowing that one to continue. Like the way under the watch of Barack Obama, he destroyed the whole nation and infrastructure of Libya and other African countries. Shame on you, General. Shame on you. But yeah, as always, we the African people, we stand with Captain. We stand with Mali. We stand with Niger. We stand with these leaders because they are working, for the survival of black people in general so that we can enjoy our resources. And Captain, since he came to power, what he was able to do in Burkina Faso, no other leader there was able to do it apart from Thomas Sankara. Now you, black general, want to remove Captain from power, basically terminating his image. Once again, General, I will say that shame on you.
I am concerned about the northern part of Somalia and ISIS growing in numbers.
How much have they grown in that area?
Oh, wow. They are, in the past year, it's probably grown probably twofold. I won't give numbers, but it's more than what it was last year.
So that's very concerning. Does the U.S. believe that the leader of ISIS Somalia, Abdul Qadir Mumin, is the global leader of ISIS right now?
We have to take it as credible. So we're just watching that closely as far as who is the overall leader. And if ISIS professes that, we got to take that seriously.
The Horn of Africa is in turmoil right now due to the differences between Somalia and Ethiopia. From a national security perspective, how does this affect the war against al-Shabaab? There's
limited operations with the Ethiopians at this time. Time will tell if they can settle their differences, and because when they do work together, they're very, very effective at clearing out al-Shabaab. The unknowns are who are going to be the troop contributing country to the AWESOM construct, the transition from ATMOS to AWESOM. And that starts at the end of the year. In the ATMOS construct, one of the anchor and frontline countries was Ethiopia. So that's what has me concerned. Because Ethiopia, especially in the southwest state, and their contributions to the liberation and stabilization has been valuable.
General Langley, do you think that U.S. forces may be needed during that transition from ATMOS to AWESOM, or even after that transition, to try to supplement the security as they're trying to bring forces out and pull forces in?
No, that's not my mission. That's not what we're there for. All of our initiatives and our approach on the African continent with our African partners will be Africa-led and U.S.-enabled. So our piece of enabling is not our boots on the ground. We're there to advise and assist and assist in the training, but the fight is theirs.
I want to follow up about something that senior defense officials told VOA in June. They had said that the Somali National Army's Central Somalia campaign had put al-Shabaab on the back foot. That was the term that they used for the past 2 years. But then al-Shabaab had in about 6 months reversed those gains this year. Is that what you see?
Well, they're still building the Somali National Army, so as they go on offensive operations, it is stress on the force. As they clear and liberate a region, you have to have a credible holding force there so stabilization activities and efforts can initiate and turn the populace and faith in the federal government of Somalia with the services they provide. So that's a very fragile period. And if they can't sustain that because they're moving to the next region or next district, it ebbs.
So that was what was happening.
Yes, that's what you're seeing. You're seeing ebbing and flowing.
They couldn't hold the territory that they had gained.
Right.
And that's where your training is coming in to try to get them ready and sped up to be able to hold that territory.
Exactly. It takes time. It's an investment to build an army.
So even with that assessment, with the struggles in the central Somalia region, even with ATMIS moving out and a new force yet to be determined moving in, you have still said that you are, quote, cautiously optimistic that Somali forces will be successful against al-Shabaab.
Well, we are at an inflection point. This is unknown territory, how they're going to navigate this transition. Yes, we need a credible holding force. However, when I say I'm cautiously optimistic, I'm looking at the whole of government effort. Every time I go there, stabilization activities are increasing. Activities that USAID has put forth in their efforts of working with civil society organizations to hit those benchmarks of stability.
For more insight into AFRICOM and the situation in East Africa, let's go live to viewers. Carla Babu, who is standing by at the Pentagon. Hello, Carla. Fascinating conversation there. Did he mention what threat he thought was most concerning in the Horn of Africa?
Well, good evening, Esther. Yes, he did. I asked him about the most concerning threat in all of Africa, and he said that that was in East Africa, particularly looking at the instability that could emanate from the Houthis, especially those waterways, those critical waterways in the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden, coupling that with the increased tensions, with the efforts that al-Shabaab is making in that region, and how the Somali government is trying to prevent these two from coalescing. He is watching that and saying that that could be very concerning. That could turn this area into a really bad neighborhood very quickly. And with the Houthis being emboldened after their attacks on different vessels, and with al-Shabaab being emboldened as they've been able to increase their recruiting efforts thanks to the disagreements between Ethiopia and Somalia, Puntland and Somaliland, he looks at that and says that that is something that could go south very quickly, and he's very concerned about that.
Have you guys seen what's going on between these two? This is Ibrahim Traore. He is the most selfless leader in Africa. And this is General Michael Langley. He is the first black 4-star general in the Marines. And this general, he had a lot to say. He name-dropped Ibrahim Traore in a meeting. Look.
I can imagine a situation, though, in which the ruling elite of a country is receiving gratuities on the side in order to the benefit of the strongman leader and not to the populace of the country. Does that sort of corruption and bribery go on with regard to the Belt and Road?
Absolutely, Chairman. I see this, and I don't mind calling them out, but Captain Traore and Burkina Faso, as they, whether it's their gold reserves, that is all those proceeds are just in exchange to protect the junta regime.
What do you guys think about all this? Obviously, Ibrahim Traore, he put his people in Burkina Faso first, and now he's become the most popular leader in Africa. And the general, he called out Ibrahim Traore, so there must be a motive behind this. Let me know what you guys think. Comment below.
Finally, Ibrahim Traore has responded to what General Michael Langley said about him. Langley is the 6th commander of AFRICOM. He is responsible of American military strategy operations and partnership across 53 African countries. So he's the one who go around African countries talking to African leaders, seeing the way forward and how to help each other. Also looking if there is an issue of all those things. And this is what he had to say about Ibrahim Traore. He said that Ibrahim Traore is misusing minerals and he is using gold of Burkina Faso to enrich himself, not for Burkina Faso people, but for power, for protection. And that he should be arrested for unaliving a lot of people, and he is not honest at all, that he is not what people think he is. Ibrahim Traore said enough is enough. All these Western medias, private detectives, they just go making headlines without any proof, without even photos, without anything, just talking. He said that they should leave African matter to Africa just because he refused and chased out all the Western leaders out of the country. Now he is the bad guy. He said that they will never, all these Western leaders, they will never come back to Burkina Faso.
You will not oppress Africans forever. African youth are begging Ibrahim Traore to allow them to go and join the military. There are countless videos from youths all over Africa begging Ibrahim Traore to allow them to go join their military. Do you know what? Africa is rising because they have been trying to assassinate Traore. There has been numerous coup attempts to get rid of Ibrahim Traore because Ibrahim Traore is a shining example of what leadership should be. We know that democracy has failed. Democracy is a fallacy. Look at the democracy in America. Which country in Europe has democracy? And you cannot tell me they do. You cannot tell me they do. You can't. You can't. I have studied all the different countries in Europe and to see how the democracy works. You have to have loads of money. You have to be supported by the right people. If you're not, if your ideology is different, then they will not have you. They will bring you down. They will not have you. So Africans are waking up. Africans are seeing what imperialist governments have been. Ibrahim Traore, yes, he's a military leader. So what? He is putting his country first. He is putting his people first. And he has said no more exploitation of Africans. And therefore, they have been trying to assassinate him multiple times. But you know what? Youths of Africa are offering themselves to go and fight, to go and be trained in Burkina Faso so that they can be the future leaders, so they can learn from the master himself, Ibrahim. And they are offering to go and protect him because they know this person is so valuable and a threat. America has already declared that he's a threat. And the moment America declares that he's a threat, you know he's a marked man. But African youth are saying, please, let us come and guard you. Let us come and protect you.
Government in Niger is using the well-being and health of our service members as leverage to get what they want out of our government. Our troops aren't getting medicine for malaria, for cholesterol, for their blood pressure, chronic conditions. You know what a real U.S. president would do? Say that C-130s are on their way to Niger today.
Actually, they don't want anything from your government. They want you to leave, you stupid motherfucker, bro. They said leave their fucking country. Talking about you bring helicopter, go. You think this is like when you walked into Africa and killed an unalive Gaddafi? You think this is that time? Huh? You think this is back then when they did nothing? It's a new day and age. Bro, I'm convinced some of these idiots think God put them in charge of the planet, bro. Like, I'm convinced they think God put them in charge of the planet. Like, it's so crazy. Go, take your helicopter and go. You think they still have spears? They're just gonna wait, look at you and come? Go. You find Assimi Goïta and his boys. You find Ibrahim Traore and his boys. And you find Chiani and his boys. And guess what? They are working together now. That divide and conquer tactics will not work. Yeah? So go. Leave their country you are talking about. What? First of all, why the fuck is the United States having a military base in these countries in the first place? Why do they have a military base? Can you explain that to me? Why do you have a military base in their country? Leave. You are talking about
So France and the US want to arrest Ibrahim Traore. So they're claiming he is a dictator. He's using gold reserve to protect himself and to enrich himself. Come on, man. The man who can't even get a presidential salary. Are you guys kidding me right now? Yo, listen. There is this video that is circulating. This military is claiming all of this false narrative to people, okay? Even the Burkinabe people complaining. We all know that whatever Ibrahim Traore is doing right now, it's amazing. It's surprising all of us. Like, a president can do all of this in a short period of time. So all of this because he is in total control of his natural resources, and he kicked out all the Western military base in Burkina Faso. So what do they think? Let me know.
Clearly, after watching this video, there are some deep critical analysis we should think of as Africans. You know, there's nothing new under this universe. Everything that is happening now once happened before. You see, what we should do as humans, what we should do as Africans, what we should do as black people is to learn from history itself. Learn that history takes a certain path. With a specific individual, it took this path, and what was the consequence when it took this path? You know, the history of Burkina Faso, or let me just put in West Africa. Apart from other parts of Africa, Western Africa has always suffered a lot of coups. Has it come to your mind that those countries which were once colonized by France are always facing a lot of coups? Does it ring into your mind? As compared to those countries which were colonized by British. Kenya was colonized by the British. Almost the entire East Africa, except for Tanzania, which was first colonized by the Germans. Later, after the Germans were defeated, after the British won as a collective of the Allied forces, Germans were uprooted from the Tanganyika region, Tanzania today. So we've never had a conflict in countries which were colonized by the British. Look at South Africa or Southern African countries. We don't have such coups. But look at DRC. DRC was colonized by the French, by the Belgium Congo, you know. Belgium and France, they speak the same language. They are more or less the same people. What's the difference is just this part of the region is called Belgium, the other part is called France, but they basically speak the same language. There is no Belgium language. They speak Francophone. So Francophone countries have always had problems with coups, you know. And now America, being part of the West, America is part of the West because America in itself is not a country which is uniracial. America is multiracial. We have the Chinese, the Japanese, the Indians, the blacks, the red Indians. We have the Europeans who came over there. The original inhabitants of America were the red Indians. Those are the original inhabitants, you know. So America's government, which is predominantly white people, are people who are from Europe. France is part of Europe. You get it? Now, because Burkina Faso is a country that refused the advances of France. They refused the things that France was doing to them, exploitation and all that. They refused military bases from the West. This black individual, this black man, Langley, I believe, is somebody who is being pushed. He's like a messenger. You see, you look like him. We're going to send you. Because you look like him, I believe his people, who are also your people, who will believe you, you know. It's a strategy you've seen before. It's a strategy we saw with Thomas Sankara. Thomas Sankara was betrayed by a very, very close friend, you know. And this close friend was an ally, was a friend to the British, he was a friend to the French, he was a friend to the United States of American government. But he was an enemy to his people. Why am I saying he was an enemy to his people? Thomas Sankara was not just about himself, unlike many African leaders. Thomas Sankara was seeing the revolutionization of Burkina Faso. That is what he saw. He saw Burkina Faso becoming such a big country, such a marvelous country. He saw Ouagadougou, which is the capital of Burkina Faso, become a magnet of entrepreneurship. This is a man who saw education should be free, healthcare should be free, water should be free, everyone should have electricity. But he was taken away by a friend who was used by the West. So once he was planted, this man was running background processes for the West, you know. And so someone else has come in power, someone who does not entertain that. You see, now that man who is always the puppeteer is having no puppet. He tried to make a puppet out of Burkina Faso's Ibrahim Traore, but he failed. He did fail, you know. So Africans, when an African leader becomes a friend to us, he automatically becomes an enemy to the West. And we should learn to stop. We should learn to stop being puppets. We should learn to stop being vehicles of animosity. We should stop becoming vehicles to against our own people, you know. Don't accept to be used against your own people. Your country comes first. Because once you have used your people, and now the West has also found no purpose with you, they'll throw you, they'll dump you, you know. That is what they'll do. Burkina Faso's Ibrahim Traore is the most beloved African president. Look at those beloved African leaders. Kwame Nkrumah, what happened? The Ghanaians might say, oh, he was corrupt, oh, this and this. But look at the bigger picture. This is a man who wanted a united Africa. We have Haile Selassie of Ethiopia. What happened? We have Patrice Lumumba of DRC. What happened? We have Thomas Sankara. What happened? We had also some political figures in Kenya. Tom Mboya, Robert Ouko, Achieng' Oneko. What happened to these people? You know? They all share the same history. They all share the same denominator. They loved Africans and they put Africa first. And when they did that, they automatically became an enemy to the West. Whatever is happening now should not surprise you a lot. Black people who are weak have always been used against black people. Thomas Langley to me is a weak man. Not Thomas Langley, but that guy Langley. He's a weak man in what way? You don't go against your own people. That is what I know. I think that's the truth. Don't go against. You know, he's not only going against Ibrahim Traore, he's going against the entire nation. That man has done a lot. His blood is very, very heavy. I don't think Langley can carry his blood. Ibrahim Traore's blood is very heavy. His shoes are very big for Langley to fit in, or even the United States of America government. They can't fit in. And so Ibrahim Traore is doing best and should be left to do best, and Ibrahim Traore should be left to be Ibrahim Traore. Yes. I'm going to end the video here. There's more to watch. I have other videos I've done. Kindly watch them. If you value what I do, support me on Patreon. Give a donation on Patreon. I will surely appreciate, you know. And I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.